He's gripping the edge of the exam table with both hands, staring at the wall, and he will not look at me. "There was blood," he says. "A lot of it. I think something's really wrong with me." He's young, mid-20s, otherwise healthy. The kind of guy who probably hasn't seen a provider since his last physical for a sports team. And he is terrified. Vitals are fine. He's not pale, not sweaty, not doubled over. But when I ask him to describe what he saw, he just repeats it. "Red. Bright red. A lot." That's the sentence that makes every provider's stomach do a small drop. Because a lot of bright red blood can mean nothing at all. Or it can mean something is actively wrong inside this patient right now. And we've got about 10 more questions to ask before we know which one it is. So I start asking them. Not the fun ones. When did it start? What did it look like? Streaks, mixed in, or just red water? Any pain? Any weight loss? Any family history? And then, because his story doesn't fully add up yet, I ask the question that makes grown adults suddenly find the ceiling fascinating. Has anything changed about what you've been eating? He says no, nothing, just normal food. I tell him what I need to check next and why, and I ask him directly if that's okay, because that part is never optional, not for me, not for any provider. No permission, no exam, full stop. He says yes. So I do the rectal exam. And here's the part nobody puts in the pamphlet. I don't enjoy this any more than the patient does. Nobody goes into medicine dreaming about this exam. It's awkward for both of us every single time. I do it anyway because it's the fastest, most reliable way to answer 3 questions. Is there a mass? Is there active bleeding right now? And what does the stool actually look like? Not what he remembers it looking like at 11 at night in a dim bathroom. No mass, no active bleeding. The colour's off, but it's not behaving like fresh blood. And I've seen fresh blood enough times to know the difference. So I go back through his history one more time, slower. And this time, almost as an afterthought, he mentions he polished off most of a family-size bag of flaming hot Cheetos the night before. That's it. That's the whole case. Bright red dye moving through a 25-year-old's GI tract, coming out looking exactly like the thing he was terrified it was. No bleeding. No emergency. Just snack food doing snack food things. He laughed about it eventually once the relief set in. I was just as relieved, because the fear that walked him through my doors was completely real, even though the cause turned out to be a bag of chips. Here's the reality underneath that story. When blood is bright red, we call it hematochezia. Most of the time, that's something ordinary like hemorrhoids or a small fissure, but occasionally it's something we need to chase harder, and age and other symptoms change how hard we chase it. When stool is black and tarry, that's melena, and that usually means blood that's been sitting and digesting on its way from higher up in the gut, which tends to worry us more, not less. But plenty of things fake both of these. Pepto-Bismol turns stool black through a completely harmless chemical reaction while it's busy calming your stomach down. Red dye, beets, certain candies do the same trick in the other direction. And sometimes it isn't bleeding at all. It's impaction, stool that's genuinely stuck, and the fix is disimpaction. A provider clearing it manually by hand because nothing else is going to move it. None of this is glamorous. All of it is real diagnostic information. Most patients think the stool question is small talk before the real exam starts. It's not. It's one of the fastest, cheapest, most honest pieces of data we get, and I act on your answer. I don't just log it and move on. What I won't do is pretend a rectal exam in the ER is the end of the conversation. It isn't. It can rule out an emergency tonight. It does not replace a GI workup, and it definitely does not replace a colonoscopy if you've got ongoing symptoms. If your primary care provider or a GI specialist tells you that you need one, The exam I did in the ER was never meant to be a substitute for it. It was meant to answer one narrower question. Is anything happening right now that can't wait? So if your stool changes colour, changes consistency, or just makes you nervous, get it looked at. Don't self-diagnose off a search engine, and don't assume it's probably nothing just because you can't remember eating anything red. Sometimes it really is nothing. Sometimes it's Cheetos. But the only way to know for sure is to ask, and to let someone check. That's why we ask about your poop. Not because we enjoy it, because it tells us the truth faster than almost anything else in the room might, including you. If this made you laugh or made you feel a little less weird about the last time a provider asked you an awkward bathroom question, do me a favour and hit subscribe. There's more of this job where that came from. And if you've got your own "it was just the food" story, drop it in the comments, because apparently I'm not the only one who's had this exact conversation with a very relieved, very embarrassed patient.